Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lena Norms and I like to bend the rules. This video is going to require some radical honesty from me because, as you know, or maybe you don't know, I am doing my year of make do, which is a project I did last year where I completely sustained abstaining from buying any clothes, not even secondhand clothes, no, not even knickers. And it was a year of cleansing. It was a great year. And I had this instinct that I wanted to do it again, but I wanted it to be less restrictive and introduce new items into my wardrobe in a controlled way, as well as encouraging myself to make my own clothes and think very carefully about my purchases. So what we're going to do today is review how I've done in January. I want to keep like a consistent way of letting you all know how I'm getting on and checking in with the project, because I think it's genuinely interesting, because even if you're not doing the project, I think that my thought processes might be similar to some of yours, and I think that it's a really interesting way of bringing you along on my learnings and modelling what it's like to be an imperfect person, and I think it'll bring up a lot of interesting discussion. So if you're interested in how I've been doing, I've brought a little structure to my check-ins, my year of make do check-ins, or low buy check-ins if you want to call it that, and I think this is how I'm going to carry on throughout the year. So hopefully this is going to make a fun video series. If you haven't seen my video where I explain the rules of my make do, I will leave the links below to that so you can watch them afterwards, and I'm also going to make a little playlist, I think, because this would be a nice thing to put on in the background. I personally love a little playlist of like creative or consumer experiments that I can just put on and like watch somebody progress throughout the year. So all of that being said, grab a tea, because while I am going to try and be as concise as possible, I do have a lot to get through. Okay, so the first section of my check-in is, what did I buy? Now, in my initial rules, I said that I was going to limit myself to 2 made to wear, ready-made things, so like secondhand or new things per season, and like counting the season as like Q1, Q2, Q3. I've done that. Just about. What happened was, as January rolled around, I thought my year of make do, the first take, had transformed my brain, and I had become a different person, a better person, a more controlled, mature person when it came to hoarding fun clothes. I was wrong. Something inside of my brain just went Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Stitch at the beginning of the movie. I mean, total full on. And I just wanted to buy everything. I had so many things that I had saved on Vinted, because I was still using Vinted, because I still bought like shoes and other accessories on Vinted, and I also just buy like stationery, pots, like literally anything that you can, like anything that you might need. It's probably on Vinted, so I use it generally as a marketplace rather than just for clothes. But, you know, throughout 2024, I had spotted the odd thing that I really, really liked and I couldn't stop thinking about. And some of those things were bookmarked in my favourites. They were things that I was keeping an eye on, monitoring, if you will. So when the beginning of January rolls around, and I also have a lot of events to go to and run and be the centre of, weirdly, I was touring Half-Assed Human, which is my book, and I had to be on stage a lot. And that brings out an extra thing in me where I'm like, I've got to have, you know, there's some teenage part of me that's like, I've got to have something new. Even though I love all the stuff in my wardrobe, could have totally worn some of that. But I knew there were a few items that would go that were really, really special and were really, really good, like value for money and quality bits of clothing, that I was like, I can't let these slide. So what I did was, essentially, over the course of a few weeks, was I bought three leopard print dresses. Tee-hee-hee. The rules of my make do dictate that I can borrow from other seasons, so this is technically within the rules. And before I go on a spiritual awakening and reflect on, you know, my behaviour and what I can learn from it, blah, 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 can we just have a little gush at what I got, because I'm really excited about it. So the first thing I got was this dress. Look at this dress. It's so good. I knew that it was something that I was going to wear a lot of, because it is a similar cut and shape to a dress that I already own, but a completely different effect and look. So it has exactly the same fabric. It's this netted fabric you can kind of see my tattoos through, that I feel really comfortable in and really like. It cut me at exactly the same place on the waist, and like the dress that I'm thinking of is one of my most worn dresses over the past like 6 years, so I knew that I was going to wear it. It is the brand Ganni as well, and I got it for a bargain price, so it is like a high quality item, and I knew that I could dress it up and wear it to like a wedding or a party, or I could wear it like I am now, just like mincing around the house, going out for coffee with people kind of thing. So it felt like it ticked a lot of boxes, and it also felt like something that I don't yet have the sewing capabilities to sew because it's made out of stretchy mesh, something I'm still working up to being brave enough to work out how to do. And as I mentioned in my last video about this project, I'm finding it very hard to find good leopard print fabric to sew with. It's something that I feel like there might be a little bit of a dip, a gap in the market, if you will, in the UK, in that quality, like good, nice looking leopard print fabric seems to be like very, very hard to come by. So there's some of the reasons that I got excited about it. I already wore it for quite a few events, and I've been wearing it casually, and I'm so excited about it, and I love it, and I can't impress on you how much of a good decision I think this dress was. The second leopard dress that I bought was from Nobody's Child, and this is a cord leopard print fabric. Again, something that I've looked for and like to try and make my own dresses of, and found it very, very hard to find dress, like light enough fabric, thin enough fabric that you could make a dress out of it with ruffles, but not so light that it's not warm enough, because I also really, something I think was missing from my wardrobe is like warmer dresses, because I'm cold and I like wearing dresses in winter, and I find that in the winter I default a lot to wearing jeans and dungarees, but I love wearing dresses, and I could let myself wear dresses if I had warmer ones. So I was really, really excited about this. This one was actually on Vinted half price, but it was new and it still had tags in it. And something that made me feel, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit weird and made me think existentially about why I'm doing this project was that, picture the scene, I'm in John Lewis and I'm in the clothing section. Oops, didn't mean to. In my defence, I was in John Lewis because there's a Waterstones in John Lewis on Oxford Street in London, and somebody had texted me to say that my book was there, and it was in fact there, like on the front shelves, next to like the presidents and like actual celebrities. So exciting. So I went in there, but unfortunately to get to the books you have to go through the clothes, and in the clothes section was my exact dress in my exact size for full price, and it was still like in the currently, new coming out section, which on some level, and I was like wearing the dress at the same time, and I was like, on some level, this is really cool because I feel like I've really snagged a bargain and like done something where I'm technically being really good because I'm buying secondhand and super sustainable, but I also get to wear something that is currently in the shops, and I got it at a good price and it wasn't even used. So in some ways it felt like a really big win and an argument for secondhand shopping, but it also made me feel weird because I'm like, am I accidentally feeding into this food chain of people who are at maybe a slightly higher money bracket to me and are willing to just like buy stuff and can't be bothered to return it, and so just like sell it on Vinted, and like they're buying the fast fashion and too many new clothes, and then I am part of the audience that makes that behavior possible because I am willing to compensate them financially for that decision by buying it from there. Do you see what I mean? So it made me feel a bit weird, but also I was like, bargain. So I'm really happy with that purchase, and it also has like the most wonderful pockets, like so warm, so big, and I know I'm going to wear it for a very, very long time. Easily one of my favourite dresses ever already. So I was really, really excited about that decision, and it's a cut that I've loved for a long time as well, so I felt like it was really like a safe bet, like a safe buy, and I was really excited about it. The third leopard print dress that I got, I haven't actually dry cleaned yet, and I'm not gonna lie, this is the risk with Vinted, right? It came a little bit smelly. It's a little bit smelly. I need to go and wash it somehow. But it is a really beautiful dress, and I think that this dress is worth about £500, and suffice to say I did not freaking pay that. Here it is on a famous celebrity that I can't remember the name of right now, but here it is on her. It's leopard print, sequins, the two loves of my life, and also I checked, not really a fabric I could buy and make myself. So again, I just felt like it was this moment of like, the universe has found me this dress and I must get it. And I am really genuinely excited to own it. And I already know that I have to go to some like really fancy events in this year. I'll tell you, I am a British Book Award judge this year. I know, it's insanity. Absolute. The world has gone off its rockers. I don't know who let me do that. Anyway, I'm a British Book Award judge this year. I have to attend the ceremony. So for that, I was like, oh, like that's the kind of thing that I can really picture myself wearing this thing to and feeling like I'm fancy and I've really made an effort for the occasion, but also just feeling like myself, like me, sequins, leopard print, like that makes you feel, that's like a cozy blanket for me. That's my safe place. So having a dress like this in my collection, I think is going to really just fill so many voids. And I also have recently sold a couple of things that are sequins. So I actually only have like one bit of sequins in my wardrobe now because of my body changing a lot. And anyway, there's a whole other thing. I'm sure some of you bought some of my sequin stuff off me off Vinted this year. So again, like a really good purchase at a really good price. This one was used as well, so it didn't make me feel weird, although it did make me feel weird that it kind of smells like BO. But it's fine, we're moving on. I will get it washed. It's okay. I'm excited to wear it when it's clean. And this again has pockets, so a really great buy. I think a very good quality brand, hopefully, that will last me a long time. And I also love rescuing sequins in particular from landfill because those things are never breaking down. So if I can keep those in my wardrobe and out of the ground, that's good. So those are my 3 confessions. And it means that I had to borrow 1 token from the next season, which would have been fine. However, as I mentioned during my setup video for this year's 2025 project, I also do sometimes work with brands, and I don't want to overconsume from those brands, but I do want to uplift the small brands that are like B Corp certified. They have great ratings on Good On You, and I want people to buy some clothes from those brands because that is also part of my idea of the solution to the horrible clothes ecosystem mess that's happening right now. So Joni sent me a dress because I think Joni is a brilliant company. Their clothes last. I'm always seeing people wearing Joni clothes and being like, I've had this for 7-8 years. They tick all the boxes for me when it comes to like clothes brands, and they're really nice. So we've decided to work together, and they were like, what do you want? Basically. And I had to really be like, you only need one thing, Lena. Just pick your favorite thing on the website. And this dress, the Priya dress, had been on my Pinterest board for like over 6 months, maybe even more. It was one that I had really looked at during my no-buy year and was like, oh God, like if I could find a fabric like that I could make a dress like that, I would be truly happy. It's definitely one that I've just like been aware of for a really long time, and I've never gone off it. And every time I've seen it on a board or like in an advert or like on their website or wherever I've accidentally been, it's been the one item that I was like, it just gave me that little zing, that little bit of happiness. So that is the dress that they kindly gifted to me as part of our partnership, which is brilliant and lovely. And I feel very grateful to be in a position like that. And I know it's a dress that I'll wear for a really long time. However, that does mean that Q1 winter and Q2 spring tokens gone. dead in the water. How do I feel about it? Happy and sad. I would never return anything that I've got. I think that they're all wonderful additions to my wardrobe, and I'm very excited to have them. However, I am like, this means that I cannot technically buy any other clothes for the next 5 months, which is what I know what I did. But I'm also a little bit sad because I felt like I was excited about how controlled and mature I was going to be as a person. Or even though I guess, hypothetically, I haven't broken my rules, I came very close. So daily. And I also feel like I'm not happy about the amount of time I spent, because I was allowed on Vinted again to look at clothes and like look around. I just spent so much time deliberating what I was going to buy in this way that I was just not happy. Like I just felt feral. You know, if I'm being really honest, I felt feral around clothes, and I didn't feel like it went as well as it didn't. This challenge so far has not gone how it was in my head. And I think we'll unpack that more at the end, but we must move on. The other ways that I might have broken my no-buy, but you can tell me, is that there's another rule where it's like, if you've got something that's too big for you or like the wrong size for you, you're allowed to swap it out on the secondhand market for the equivalent thing in the right size for you. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not punishing myself for my body changing a lot, and I'm not like losing loads of parts of my wardrobe because of that, even though, you know. Anyway, so I have this top that I've had for a long time that looks like this, and it's inside out, but I honestly cannot be bothered to turn the right way out. It's just essentially a really basic Lucy and Yak striped long sleeve top, and it's served me well, and I've worn it a hell of a lot. But as I have had my rant about before when we talk about fluctuating bodies, just because something is a stretch top doesn't mean it's versatile and it fits you at many sizes. And this one, the shoulders were like hanging off, but not in a drop shoulder way. They were literally just like boxing off me, and it felt really uncomfortable and like riding up, and I was just really frustrated with it. Every time I put it on, I was like, this is not made for me anymore. And I really wanted to find a home where it is being worn, and I think that it's still in really, really great condition. So I think this is now the time to find a new home. So anyway, then I was like, okay, so to adhere to my rules, I'm now going to try and find an equivalent top. Couldn't find an equivalent top, not one that I was happy with in a size that I was sure would fit me for a long time. And also started thinking, like, one of the reasons that I'm kind of not wearing this top anymore is because I feel like I am not a white and black kind of girly when it comes to stripes like this. Like, I much prefer colour. And I was also just being like, there's so many reasons I wasn't wearing it. I'm justifying myself here, I know. So anyway, after a very long wrestle with my soul in the darkness of night scrolling Vinted, I ended up just being like, fuck it. And instead, I got this top, which is in my size, but you'll notice is not that top. It serves exactly the same purpose in my wardrobe, like it's a long sleeved stripy top. I imagine I'll wear it in exactly the same situations in the place of that one, but it is thicker, so it's warmer, and it is in completely different colours and a completely different stripe pattern. So I do think that I am getting a little bit of rush of novelty from that, which is not the plan. And while at the time I do feel like it still adheres to like the reasons I made the rules. So the reasons I made the rules was so that I could have stuff in my wardrobe that I genuinely wore and made the most out of the stuff in my wardrobe and didn't create waste. I felt like buying something that I knew I wasn't going to wear very much because I know that some of the qualities of this item do not work in my wardrobe. Reaching for something where I knew the qualities did work in my wardrobe and would work for a long time and did suit all the rest of my wardrobe much better and fit with everything else that I own much better felt like the right sustainable decision, but also was technically breaking the rules. So what happens when your sustainability comes up against your own personal rules, like, and those things feel like they're at cross purposes when they shouldn't be, because you designed the rules to be sustainable? I don't know what I was supposed to do, but I know what I did. And you can tell me in the comments below whether you think that means that I failed. I'm not sure, but what I do know is that I don't want to do that again. I don't want that to be like a repeat prescription. Like, I don't think that that's a pattern that I should carry on with throughout the year and just like swap out loads of my clothes just because I'm like, well, it doesn't fit me, so I'm going to buy something else. It's like technically the same, but actually different. Do I feel like a weight is lifted? I can't tell, but at least now you know. At least now you know what happened. And if you see me in this wonderful top, you'll know that I'm having a great time and I'm wearing it much more than the other one, which is going to find a new home and everything's going to be fine. Anyway, so that's what I bought. That is the end of that section. The next section is going to be called Tempted, and it's everything that I was tempted by. Now, I started keeping a tally of this and with screenshots, which I'll show on screen now. But honestly, there was just so many because I was browsing so much, because I was so excited that there's literally no room in the video for it. And maybe in the future, I will dwell on certain bits that tempted me and why they tempted me and why I decided not to get them. But the real reason that I didn't get any of these items was I'd already used my tokens. I had no business looking at these things. And it was just, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yes, I was tempted by things this month, okay? And maybe next month I won't be tempted by anything. I can't tell. Next section. What did I make? Well, I'll tell you what I made. Nothing. But not without trying. So this is a story all about how I am trying to make this bloody dress and I keep getting cursed by the universe. I cut out the parts for this dress in October of last year, and then I got super busy and I didn't do it, and I was so sad because I really wanted to make it. This is the dress that I want to make. It's a Liberty dress. It's called the Alexa Frill dress, and it kind of looks like the Oh Pioneers dresses. Like, it's beautiful. I want to be an expert in making this pattern. However, I am not. One, I got this beautiful corduroy fabric because another thing I wanted, like I said, was to have warmer clothes to wear in winter. Bought this corduroy fabric, and then I was like, I've got enough lining. I can line it with this beautiful linen, which I did, but there wasn't enough of it. And by the time I realised it was too late, so I had to do the most tedious, time-consuming patchwork job on the back of this lining so that I could make sure I had enough fabric. You can't see all of it. You can see there's like a divide here and here, but also down here we had to do some piecing that's ripped apart. Other bits over here. This bit's like a triangle to make it work. It was a whole thing. Don't throw it, Lena. I'm an adult. So anyway, that was the first thing that went wrong. Then when I went to do the outside of the dress, I had a nice little hands-on sewing life lesson because I learned what nap was. Do you know what nap is? I'll tell you what nap is. Nap is when you have a directional fabric that has like a texture that only goes one way. So if you notice, velvet actually usually only has one way that you can stroke it so it feels nice, and one way that you can stroke it and it feels like Velcro. And I didn't think about that when I was cutting out pattern pieces, did I? Oh no. So it turned out that loads of parts of the dress that I had cut out, like some parts of the fabric were going in different directions, and it made it look super weird. And that was only after I'd done all the darts. Good. So anyway, I did have some extra fabric and I managed to eke it out enough so that I could redo the parts that were the wrong direction nap. Like you want all the nap to be down essentially, and some of it was up and some of it was down. Anyway, that put me in a little rage, but I was like, well, we will continue. And then I finished both the sleeves. And then I realised that I'd sewed one of the sleeves in a wonky way. I had to take the sleeve off again. As you can see, that I have not yet reattached it because of the rage. And then I was like, wow, we're really getting somewhere. I'm almost finished. I think I'm going to finish this dress tonight and maybe I can wear it to my event tomorrow. And nothing's going to stop me from finishing this dress. And I start gathering the dress, which like for the skirt, which is super tedious, like the worst part of sewing. I'm just not good at that part. I love sewing, but that is not a part that I feel very strong, like that I am getting any better at. And it took me ages, and I attached the skirt and I went to try it on and I pulled it over my head and I realised that I'd attached the skirt freaking backwards. Backwards. Then I rage quit for a week, didn't touch the project at all, came back to the project day before yesterday and thought, I'm a grown-up, I'll finish the project, I'm excited. And then I spent about half an hour on it and it ran out of thread. So anyway, that project isn't finished. When I am ready to look at her again in the eye, once we've had a cooling off period, maybe I will have a dress to wear. But also I realise it doesn't fit me very well. And even though I made a toile, the shoulders are super, like the shoulders are kind of too high on my neck. Like it looks like I'm shrinking into the dress, so... Anyway, that's what I've been doing. On the plus side, I did make 2 rather fetching hats. One in lime green, which is part of my dream wardrobe plan. If you don't know about that yet, I'll leave the link below. And one in this beautiful rainbow wool that my friend Sana got me for Christmas. So I thought I'd make a little hat out of it. And I really like it. That's what that is. And then I'm also in the middle of making a scarf, 2 half colours. And that is because I'm doing a little giveaway project on Instagram, which I don't know if it's gone live yet, but like you should follow me on Instagram if you want to know what I'm doing. But I'm essentially making a kind of half red, half pink scarf for Valentine's Day. So it's not like I haven't been unproductive, I just don't have anything to show for it apart from 2 woolly hats. So here's to next month, I guess. My bingo card check-in is next on my to-do list. Before we slide on to the bingo card section though and talk about how I've been doing with this, I just wanted to give a little shout out to the Gumption Club. The Gumption Club tip me for these videos that I put out for free so they can keep happening, and I think it's wonderful because it means that instead of me interrupting you in this video with a sponsor and trying to ironically sell you something while I'm talking about not buying things, I get to just like carry on and just like chat about whatever I'm chatting about, and that's because of them. They're brilliant, they keep the lights on. I don't know if you've ever seen the creator economy, but like just this doesn't make this happen. So I'm really grateful to them, and we have a really lovely Discord community at the moment that's growing and growing, and I really love, we have a section in the Discord called Wardrobe where we swap ideas not only about outfits and share what we're wearing, but like how to mend stuff if we're struggling with addictive behavior when it comes to shopping, and like what to buy, what not to buy, what's sustainable, where to buy sustainable bras, what to do about this rip in my dress, like look at this amazing thing that I've bought that I'm really excited about. Like all of that, it's a great place to dump those thoughts with people who have like a similar mindset to you and might be on the same kind of path. So if that sounds interesting and you'd like a little online community of people to hang around with, and also you get early access to the videos, a weekly podcast from me, loads and loads of little extra bits of stuff, then I'm going to leave the links to Patreon below where you can have a little sniff around and see if it's for you. Anyway, back to the bingo card. How have I been doing? This is my bingo card. I haven't scratched anything off it yet. In my defense, it has been like probably one of the busiest months for promoting my book and like loads of other extracurricular but like also curricular work that I have to do that I don't usually have to do. So it has been a bit of a mad month, but I haven't done anything on my make do template. However, I am in the midst of working out, taking an in-person class, which also will result, this is hopefully going to happen in February, which also will result in trying an overlocker, because I know that in this sewing school, they have a freaking overlocker, and I'm going to make them let me have a little go on it, because I would like to know how that feels. So this might be 2 there. I also have a plot about mending for a friend, which I'll update you on next check-in, but I think I know who and what I'm going to mend for somebody. And apart from that, no progress, Mum. I've been just trying to live through these grim grey months, and also just honestly getting a bit of a zing about all the new clothes that I do have, which I'm very grateful for. And now we won't get any new clothes until July, and that's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Final section, my plans for this month. So one thing I want to do is use this indexed app. You can catalogue your wardrobe on this app, essentially. And I've seen other people do them. My friends Hannah and Lucy did the videos on them. And the idea sounded great, but the app that they used looked shit. And it kept glitching on them. And I was just like, this doesn't feel like it's worth my time. However, I found this other app called Index, which loads of YouTubers have said is like brilliant. And I've watched loads of reviews on it. And I've started using that very slowly, and I've been really enjoying it so far. I didn't take like a whole day to catalogue my whole wardrobe. I've decided to catalogue as I go. So when I wear an item, I take a picture of it and then I can catalogue it. But it's a way of like maybe being able to see for myself how much of my wardrobe I actually wear, and also just like stats about like how much of my wardrobe is secondhand versus new versus me made. I want to know all of those stats, and also the side effect, hopefully for me, solving what is apparently my January stitch problem, is that I'll be able to shop my own closet, my own wardrobe, and when I have the urge to squirrel clothes or try and be creative, I can just sit and assemble new outfits from clothes that I already own. So getting that shopping experience, but it from being from stuff that like I already have. So that's one aspect of it that I hope I'm going to focus on a bit more in February. I want to lock myself out of my personal Vinted account. I have 2 Vinted accounts, one for selling and one for buying, because I'm just a woman on the internet trying not to get doxxed. So you will never know if I've bought any clothes from you, because I have a completely separate account that you wouldn't be able to detect as me. And I would still like to continue selling on Vinted. Oh, by the way, this is what we should celebrate. I also have sold all of these clothes on Vinted recently, which is part of my resolution where I'm like, if I buy something, I have to sell 2 things. So there has been a trade-in where all of these things have gone. I've sold them all to make sure that I basically sold 8 things so I could get 4 things. So that has been a celebration. I've been really enjoying selling stuff on Vinted, and it genuinely is really easy. Like, not spawn, just love. So I would like to continue to sell stuff on Vinted, but it means that I can sign myself out of my personal Vinted account, and I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to scroll on that. So that's cool. I want to make some more time for sewing. That's also one of the plans in the works. Don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but I have basically had like very little time for sewing, which is why I think I fucked this up, because I was trying to rush it. And I was also having really high expectations that I'd be able to do an intermediate level pattern without making any mistakes, which is not who I am, apparently. Good to know. So I think like setting aside a little bit more time for sewing would be really like creatively fulfilling. And I think I was also probably falling back into old shopping habits because I wasn't getting creatively fulfilled in other ways, because I was just like having a bit of a mad rush around the town. And then finally, I want to book myself onto a sewing class. I think that would be cool. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. Some other reflections that really helped me think about this was Hannah Louise Poston, who is a YouTuber that I love and talks a lot about our complicated relationship with consumerism, did a video that I will link below called I Fell Off the Wagon. And she talks about this idea of her doing a low buy after doing a no buy, and the difference between having guidelines and having rules, and the idea that actually having a hard reset and clear rules and like a cleanse can sometimes be easier than building a healthy relationship with something and having like guidelines that you follow, and you're kind of strengthening a different muscle by doing stuff in moderation rather than banning yourself from something. And it can be like a different skill, and like sometimes as hard if not harder. So that brought me great comfort, and like this idea of like letting your sulky teenager run your ship. Like it is you, but it's also not you. It's like a less mature version of you who's just like, that really resonated with me in that video. And also this idea that if you're building the muscle of moderation, it should be part of that muscle to be able to fail and start again pretty fast without losing like all momentum or like becoming really pessimistic or rude about yourself. Just being like, that is also a muscle you need to build in your brain of like, failed, okay, reset, start again, bring the same energy. Like, that's actually a muscle. So that was really heartening as well. Loved that thought process, and I'll leave the links to that below. But there was another like image she used in it where she was just like, it's almost like my urges are beating against the bars. Like when you first put something in bars, it's like, no, let me out. I want to do what I've always done. And you have to like just let them beat the bars. It also made me feel like, thank goodness I'm doing this, because I feel like if I'd just gone from a no buy to just like going back to normal, apparently my brain is Stitch and I would have just gone mad. Like the amount of things that I saw that were like under £5 that I was like, I could look after that item of clothing. That could be in my family. I can save that from landfill. And like, I get being still in that consumer mindset of like, why not, rather than why. I mean, in some ways, I'm really glad that I'm doing this, and that January has really woken me up to the fact that maybe I don't just want to do this, but I need to do this. I went in being valiantly like, I just want to do it. I just think it'd be cool. I think it's a good statement. I think it's a good thing to talk about. I think it would make some interesting videos. But actually, no, maybe I've been humbled and I need to do this. So that's good to know. So anyway, that's how I'm doing with my year of make do as of January, and I can let you think about it in your own head. Maybe if it's mean, don't tell me in the comments. Think about in your own head whether you think that I've broken the rules, but I definitely have pushed up against them, like rattled the bars a little bit, and that's really psychologically interesting because, like I said, I thought my year of make do had made me a more mature person, and it turns out I'm just really excited about clothes, which is totally fine, but we do need to keep it within levels of moderation that also align with the planet and like what I want from my life long term. And we're just going to settle into that. We're just going to do this for February and make myself comfortable in that, rather than trying to pull away from it and like jump out of the chair, you know. Anyway, I've been doing a lot of bum metaphors because I've been touring the Half-Arsed Human. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch more videos like this, here are some on screen. I've made them already. They're waiting for you. This video is made possible by my patrons, the Gumption Club. Like I said in the middle of the video, if you're interested, I will leave the links below for you to come and join our fun little fuzzy cult family. It's a great place. Thank you so much for watching. Frogsnog out.